Alright, good morning, good morning. Ayan, andyan na ba tayo lahat? So again, Friday na naman, ang aga-aga. Welcome everyone to another session of CEO Insights Asia Executive Series, Principle of Scaling. Ayan, so currently we are in Zoom, live tayo sa Zoom and also in Facebook. Ayan, especially to our fellow CEOs who's here with us. Ayan, good morning. And to our listeners in Facebook, yan, again, welcome po. Yes, I'm your host for today. Ayan, ako na naman. Sorry na. Yan, yung mga nasa Zoom, please type. Ikaw na naman para may engagement tayo. Kala mo, sir, ikaw lang magpapatype. Ayan, ikaw na naman. Ako nga. Sorry naman. Sige, I'm your host for today. I'm Jabs, founder and CEO of Sam Enterprise Incorporated. Ayan. Yes, sorry naman. Okay, for today's topic, ayan, so we are on week number 4 already. Ayan, it's all about prepare. Ayan, so maghanda. Mukhang title pa lang, may pasabog tayo today. So ayan, the key objective for today, of course, why we do this is to install DNA principles that scale organizations. Yan. Yan, and our theme for this month is all about strategy. And we're focusing on being missional. Yan, operating in excellence, progressing in experience, and thinking in generations. Ayan, so may mga pumapasok pa dito sa Zoom. So currently we are 9 million participants na tayo. Ayan. Alright. Etong matindi announcement. Ayan lang. So, ayan. So quick overview pala of the topics that we have discussed this month. Ayan. So week 1, we have path. And week 2, ayan, preview. And then last week, ayan, na-discuss natin. It's all about pause. And ayan, week number, ayan, today. So we'll be talking about prepare. Ayan, or sa Tagalog, ayan, maghanda. Ano bang i-share na ni Sir ngayon? Ayan. So just to share lang siguro yung mga takeaways natin from the previous topics. Ayan, as company owners, syempre, we get to decide our purpose, our vision. Pero sabi dito ni Sir, when it comes to strategy, we cannot stick talaga sa isa lang, no? Because it is largely driven yan, by external factor, sabi ni Sir. So, ano yung hinihingi ng market, kahit gaano pa, sabi ni Sir, kahit gaano pa kaganda yung product, yung packaging, pagka hindi talaga yan binili or hindi yan kailangan, wala talaga. So, pagdating sa strategy, talagang pabago-bago yan. So, yun. And also last week, yan, di natin makakalimutan yung case study ni Sir na yung kutol na wallpaper cleaner pala. Akala ko magiging katol. Pwede pa kutol sa katol Medyo malapit pero ano pala siya, naging Play-Doh. Yan, yung parang clay, no? So, ang takeaway natin dun sa case study ni Sir, when it comes to strategy, talagang we cannot stick into one, no? Kasi may mga inaasahan tayo, mga hindi inaasahan na dumarating. So as CEOs, kailangan nating hindi tayo of course hihinto sa ganyan. So part talaga may mga walang trabaho ng gugulo, no? So pero us of course focusing on the goal, purpose, vision, isa lang yan. Pero when it comes to ano yung gagawin natin on reality, sipain. Sorry for the term, no? Anyway, let's continue. Ayan. So, yeah, last week, i-share ko lang yung, as I was saying, yung case study ni Sir. It's about kutol, yung wallpaper cleaner. Kala ko magiging katol siya, pero it becomes Play-Doh, yung clay na pinaglalaro ng mga bata ngayon. Anyway, pinaglaruan din natin yung before. So, ang takeaway natin doon, from a near bankrupt company that became a well-known brand. So, ganun ka-importante yung pag-pivot, sabi ni Sir. So, making a shift or turning into a new direction. Yan. So, abangan natin yung case study ni Sir today. Mukhang medyo intense ngayon. Ayan. So, announcement for circle meetings. Ayan. Alright. This is John Ray Fernandez. Nakakasa na si Sir. Bubunot na lang. Ayan. So, this happens every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Yeah. So this is our circle multipliers. Yeah. Sir BK from Sellers Hub, Coach RD, we trade. Yan. Si Sir Felix, Miss Mel, Miss Chris, and yan, si Sir Ruel. So these are the circle multipliers. And if you want to sign up sa ating one of the circles, so merong link na isi-send lang sa comment section. So please sign up if you want to join. Of course, dito sa circle, guys, this is where we exchange business ideas or practices. Siguro personally, of course, kaya natin yung mga bagay-bagay mag-isa, pero when it comes to scaling our business or businesses, dito na papasok yung team. Yan, this is where circle comes in. So yan, sobrang makakatulong talaga. So yan, this is our circle multipliers. Right, so let's watch this video for more insights on what is happening.
Hi there, my name is Jerome Revilla, the founder of Franchise and Distributorship Company. Dito sa CEO CEOInsight Asia, I'm learning things that help me to become a better leader, which also helps me to transform my organization for the better. We have circle meetings every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and principles of scaling every Friday at 10 a.m., which are great sources of leadership and management knowledge and skills that will help you grow and your company as well. So after all, this is the kind of support that we need as leaders, right? A CEO is also the only one who can understand a fellow CEO. So see you soon and welcome to CEO Circle Insights Asia.
All right, that's Sir Jerome. Thank you for that. Of course, we learn from fellow CEOs. So this some of the insights na share through the video. So what are we waiting for? Tara, join na. All right. So of course, our weekly circle meetings have achieved a new milestone, racking up to 45 plus circle members. So for what is happening or what's about to happen, again, let's watch this video. Yan, so we'll be having our CEO meetup July 1 in Tagaytay. Alright, so ayan talaga, isa sa mga ina-anticipate natin, no? Yun, so this will be happening on July 1. That will be on Friday in Tagaytay. So I think na-ready na yung place. Yan. So tayo na lang ang kulang. Alright, so kita-kits tayo doon. Okay, so wag na natin patagalin. Eto na. So, kilala na natin to. Of course, tagapaghatid ng magandang problema. Alright, so founder and executive advisor of CEOInsight Asia, Mr. Florentino A. Hernando. Sir Fa, floor is yours.
Alright, good morning everyone. Maraming salamat, Jobs.
Intense to, sir, intense.
Oh, welcome, Direk. Ganda ng pangbungad sa'yo, Direk Frank. We're very, I can see that a lot of people are trying to join us and troll us. Artistahin na pala talaga tayo. Anyway, thank you so much for that. We'll use that as an as a motivation para to inspire us that we're doing a good job. Yun na lang, no? May mga nagme-message sa akin, bakit nyo daw nilak yung meeting? Ganyan na kayo, charot. Sorry na, Lizelle. It is what it is. So, yeah, thank you so much. Anyway, formally introducing myself, my name is Florentino A. Hernando. I'm one of the founders and executive advisor of CEOInsight Asia. And yes, our purpose in this ecosystem is infusing ideas that build lasting companies. We want to learn in this ecosystem kung paano ba natin itatransition ng ating mga businesses, ang ating mga organizations into something that can last for over 100 years, diba? Centennials. At the same time, something that we can transfer to our children, our children's children, and to the next generation. Ayan, pasensya na doon sa mga nagme-message, sa mga si Mel pala ang nag-lock. Sorry na. Si Mel na editor-in-chief natin. Okay, so speaking of which, we are very proud to share another milestone of CEOInsight Asia. Ito na po, ayan na! For release na po ang first issue, CEOInsight Asia Review featuring the Phenom Sellers Hub na si Chief Visionary Officer BK Rivera. So para dun sa mga gustong magkaroon ng copy, i-share namin mamaya sa page kung paano maka-download. Ayan, so we're very excited. Congratulations to our Editor-in-Chief, Miss Mel Medrano of Gramwork PH, and all the contributing writers dito sa ating issue for this month. Next episode na ang pinaghahandaan natin. So very excited. Type nyo nga dyan kung excited kayong maka-download. I am excited para alam kong nandyan pa kayo. Diba? Doon sa ating nilimit na participants sa Zoom. Doon sa mga nasa Facebook naman, pasensya na. Alam nyo naman, medyo na tayo, nag-level up na tayo. Kaya kindly share na lang. Hindi ko na invite to join us kasi nakalock na po. So please share the page. So that we'll be able to reach more people, more entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, and whatever comes next. Ayan. So nakapasok ba sila? Nakalock pala. Okay. Pasok ka ba, Lai? I'm not sure. You're here ata. Please chat if you're here. Okay. So ano ba ang agendas natin for today? Sige. So we'll do a very quick conversation starter. Meron tayong dalawa na mag-share ng kanilang insight about building enterprises that can be great without them. Yan. And then we'll do a very quick recap. And then we'll talk about the answer 127 years in the making, courtesy of my personal experience before I became a full-time executive advisor. Yan. And then we'll do some facts and figures. Then we'll talk about the centennials. Ano ba to? Yan. Para mas ma-inspire tayo in our journey to build our company into lasting institution. And then we'll get practical. So, para dun sa mga nasa Facebook, please type naman, I am excited. If you are really excited to talk about the last installment of our strategy series. Para dun sa mga nasa loob, alam nyo na kung ano itatype nyo. Okay, sige. Alright, conversation starter tayo. We want to ask this question to two people. What is your motivation in building your enterprise into something that can be great without you? We want to make it personal. Kasi lahat ng nandito, we're all building our businesses, we're all building our organizations, and we want our organizations that we build to be great even without us, especially when we're no longer there. We want it to be great, di ba? So ang tanong, ano yung motivation? I ask ang ating newly minted Trial by Fire Director of Principles of Scaling, Frank Mercado, CEO of the Mercs, to kick off our conversation starter. Frank!
Ayun.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Grabe, no? First day ng pagiging director. Iba agad ang bungad. Pero, ayun, anyway, thank you, sir, Fano, for the opportunity na maging director nito. But, ayun, to answer the conversation starter, what is my motivation in building an enterprise into something that can be great without me? Personally, sir, it's really big for me to give value to people. Yun talaga yung kumbaga pinakakakilanlan ko sa sarili ko. Whenever I give value to people, it's just a euphoric feeling for me. So, ayun, what motivates me is if na, for example, my current enterprise ngayon is mabuild ko siya into something that would be great without me. It would give me more opportunities to build more enterprises that would be great again without me. So kumbaga, to scale it to build more enterprises that would give value to more people, that's my motivation. Kumbaga, that goes very deep sa akin, yung pag-give ng value sa tao. So yun, pinaka-motivation ko is to giving value talaga to people.
Sige. How about the next one? Coach RD, kahapon.
Hello, good morning. Welcome ulit sa ating director. So for me, ito yung motivation ko in building an enterprise na magiging great without me. Even nung bata pa kasi ako, I know deep in my heart na talagang I'll be creating an impact, not just to the Philippines but to the world. Yes. And isa nga yun nakita sa sa Strength Finder, shout out kay Coach Ron, na meron talaga akong self-assurance. Kaya bata pa lang ako, alam ko na yan. High school pa lang, nung college. Even nung college, when everyone is busy with their subjects, ako nagkikreate ako ng mga organization noon. So one organization na binuo ko noon is the EPC Strings. And kahit na pandemic, nandyan pa rin sila ngayon. So I know my motivation is deep in my heart. I will be creating an impact. So as early as right now, I'm preparing my organizations. Yung siguro we will be building together many organizations, and that's my motivation na we will create a great impact together.
Yeah. All right. Galing. Oo, thank you, Coach RD. Very inspiring. Grabe. Makatindig balahibo in the term nga of jobs. Ayan, sige. So, let's move forward. No? Let's do a very quick recap first before we proceed to our conversation or our discussion in the next. How many minutes do I still have? 40 minutes. Ayan, sige. So, in the first week, we talk about path. Diba? Pinag-usapan natin na strategy is quite difficult, but in its simplest definition, it's quite difficult kasi maraming definition of strategy, hindi nagkakasundo yung mga experts. So we want to simplify it by saying that strategy simply is how we plan to achieve our goals, right? And it's difficult to create one because largely ang strategy is driven by external factors. Hindi natin pwedeng idikta na ito yung strategy natin, ito lang, okay? Sumunod kayo, mundo. Sumunod kayo, marketplace. It doesn't work that way. Diba? Ito yung image na gusto nating i-maintain in our head when it comes to drafting a strategy. Purpose, tayo nagdidikta niyan. Tayo magsasabi niyan na this is what the purpose I want for our company. And then the vision, this is the purpose, what it looks like if the purpose is achieved. Tayo rin magdidikta niyan. In strategy, diba, in the strategy, market is king. Ito ang sasabihin natin na we believe as the best way given the circumstances to achieve our vision. Okay? For now, dahil ang bilis na nagbabago ng mundo. So when the marketplace changes, we also adjust, which is yun yung topic natin the following week. Diba? In week 2, we talk about preview or milestone markers. Diba? And itong milestone markers is basically the strategy broken down into years or into months. Basically, we want to make the strategy bite-size para may sense of progress tayo. Okay, because we have milestones, we have a sense of progress, and pag meron tayong sense of progress, meron tayong milestone na achieve, it gives us a time to pivot, di ba? To reflect kung dapat ba akong mag-pivot or do I persist and continue. Di ba? And then once we have that opportunity to be in control of our strategy, it unlocks our passion. And when we have passion, it enables us to put in more effort, which eventually, di ba, the more effort that we provide, ideally or soon enough, we will progress, and then it's a flywheel. So we view the progress, we pivot given the milestone na na-accomplish natin, and then it unlocks passion in us. It gives us energy to put in more effort para ma-accomplish natin kung ano yung gusto nating ma-accomplish, right? And then we talk about the ways of designing milestones. Properly designed milestones have timeline, have a number, a specific number, and he has the specific person accountable. But we don't put it in team supervisor or team manager or CEO. We put in the name of the person accountable doon sa milestone na yun. Yan. And then last week, we talked about pause or pivoting. Diniscuss natin na pivot is a change in direction demanded by the situation. Okay? Ang magdidikta kung magpipivot tayo is yung situation. Okay? And pursuing the best option because maraming pwedeng gawin in pursuit, di ba? We have to re-strategize. Basically, pivot is re-strategizing given the circumstances for us to achieve our vision. So yun ang the definition natin ng pivot, di ba? Kasi dalawa lang yan. When you have a vision, you employ a strategy, dalawa lang ang pwedeng mangyari. Either ma-accomplish natin yon or hindi. At pag hindi natin accomplish yung strategy, yung vision natin with our strategy, may dalawang option tayo. We can persist, pagpipilitan natin yung strategy, hindi, try natin. Or we can pivot. Diba? What is the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Diba? So we pivot. We don't persist if something is ineffective. Okay? So it's difficult to pivot given three things. Number one, we're already comfortable, di ba? Kasi ito na yung nakasanayan natin eh. Di ba? Nakarating nga ako sa ganitong sitwasyon ko nang hindi ako nag-change ng strategy eh. Bakit ako mag-uumpisang magpalit? Diba? Yan ang mga common challenges when you're deciding to pivot. Second is, may commitment na ako. Dami ko nang naipundar eh. Ang lalim na. Ilang taong ko nang ginagawa ito eh. Nag-invest na ako eh. So it's the sunk cost bias which leads us to the next one. Besides, ang hirap magbago, di ba? It's challenging to change, di ba? So these are the reasons why pivoting is hard or difficult in circumstances na kung saan nakikita natin that the strategy somehow is still working. Pero like what we've said in the last week, just because hindi nagbabago ang organization natin doesn't mean the world outside our organization isn't changing. Diba? In fact, ang bilis ng pagbabago ng mga pangyayari, diba, outside, and the problem happens when the pace of change outside, diba, outpace or outperforms the change that's happening inside. Ang bilis ng pagbabago sa labas, yung company hindi makasabay. That's where problem happens, and that's where bankruptcy happens or they get acquired and so on. Okay, so with pivot, this is the principle we want to take home. The most important move you will ever make is always the next one. Whatever happened in the past, it's done. Wala na tayong magagawa ron. Yung mga nag-zoom bomb sa atin kanina, wala na, I can whine and I can be, grabe naman, nananahimik kami dito. Or I can move on, pivot, di ba? Lock. Kagaya nga ng ginawa ni Mel, i-lock yung meeting. Ayan. So we can pivot because what's most important is always the next one. Right? Okay, so now we go to prepare. Yeah, so that's 6 minutes of review. Diba? We're talking about preparation. It's all about coming up with two things. Okay, two sides of one coin. Ang session na to is about being quote-unquote successful in building your business. At the same time, sustaining that success. Yun ang gusto natin. Hindi tayo one-hit wonder. Hindi tayo one-time, one day lang, galing, one day millionaire. After nun, tapos na. No, it's all about sustainability. If you're in this ecosystem, you're here to learn how to do that. Okay? So, I'll share a story that I experienced personally while I was still in the corporate world. So, about almost 10 years ago, I was part of Manila North Harbor Port. Shout out kila Joy and sila Janine, mga kaibigan natin dyan. And it's a subsidiary of San Miguel. Right? And we are from the infrastructure division. And sister companies natin na yan, yung SLEX, so sila Skyway, sila Somco, sila Katiklan Airport, sila Startol, sila T-Plex. So yan ang mga sister companies natin. And once a month, we get invited. I'm part of the HR team noon. And once a month, meron tayong meeting sa corporate sa may Ortigas kung saan yung sister companies get infused of the strategy of in our parlance, the DNA of San Miguel. Because San Miguel is San Miguel. Diba? So to make sure that the subsidiaries somehow have a semblance of the DNA, ginagawa nila once a month, mini-meet yung mga HR, infuse us with the trainings and the management development and all, so that when we go home to our separate companies, dala-dala namin yung DNA ni San Miguel. And nasa ano kami nito, we were in a corporate office, and then we had a lunch. Nag-lunch kami nito sa Mega Mall, naglalakad kami doon. And I was already thinking about, grabe, no? I mean, San Miguel is San Miguel. 100+ year old company. Back then, it was 127. Sabi ko, galing. And that time, I think it was 2017, for the third straight year, San Miguel was named by Rappler and JobStreet as the best company to work for in the Philippines for 3 straight years. 2014, 2015, 2016. Or 2015, 2016, 2017. Yeah. 2014, 2015, 2016. Yan. So ganun yung 2017 they became number 1 si Meralco. Yeah. And I was thinking about that. And then one of my associates, ang pangalan niya ay si Kurt. Sabi niya, he was my business performance analyst back then, but now he's one of my partners of isang venture. He asked out loud, sabi niya, galing ni San Miguel, no? And while he was saying that, I was already thinking I was trying to analyze San Miguel. And then I blurted out this question. Sabi ko, I know they're great. But why are they great? And why were they able to sustain being great? You know, it's just a question na I was thinking about nung papunta kami sa lunch. Sabi niya, para si Kurt, parang, sir, wala na naman magawa sa buhay, kung ano na naman pinag-iisip, no? So basically, he ignored me. And I was, all throughout the lunchtime, I was thinking about why. And I came up with a theory, you know, and it's a principle that I embraced fully after that incident. Okay? That for me is a core conviction. And I will share my answer to this later. Bibitinin ko muna kayo. Ayan. Para, andyan pa ba kayo? Say yes if you're still with me. You're following the story. So, bibitinin ko muna kayo para alam kong engage kayo. Ayan. Okay, so let's throw in some facts and figures. Okay, this is from CEOInsight. It's a research company, and they research about corporate longevity. And this published 2016. And so it talks about the S&P companies, S&P 500 in the US and London Stock Exchange. Ito yung findings na nakuha nila. The average lifespan of a US and Standard & Poor's 500, S&P is the 500 leading companies in the US that's publicly listed based on their market capitalization. Basically, ito yung mga malalaking companies. And ang sinasabi rito, for 80% in the last 80 years, the lifespan dropped 80% in the last 80 years from 67 years to 15 years. So ang tinatagal ng isang S&P company sa isang kumpanya sa index used to be 67 years, now it's down to 15 years. Sabi rito, the 33-year, in the research also, one level deep, sabi rito, 33-year average of S&P narrowed to 20 years in 1990. And it's from 67 to 20, and it's now forecasted to shrink by 15 years in 2026. Take note, wala pang pandemic neto. Right? So we'll see the effects of this. Ito pa, about half of the S&P will be replaced in the next 10 years. Ito naman sa London Stock Exchange, only 28 of the original FTSE 100. Ito, kung si US may S&P 500, ito FTSE 100, the 100 largest companies in the London Stock Exchange. Yung 28 doon, it's a 72% drop. Okay? They lasted 37 years and they're no longer in the list. Okay? They either got removed, they got delisted, they got acquired, and yun yung mga reasons. They disappeared because they were overtaken. May mas nag-outpace ng growth compared sa kanila. Their value, they dropped, or they got acquired. And for me, understanding this reading, sabi ko, I don't want that for me. I want to build a company that is not going to simply get acquired or disappear. I want to build something that will last. And that has been my passion since the early 2000. Yan ang kumbaga life's work ko, na I want to build something that will last for generations to come. Okay? And I've been studying how to do that for the past 20 plus years. And I'll be sharing the lessons every week. If you're here, you're learning the lessons I've been learning so far. Now, okay, going back, what's the answer that I got? So, ang daming nawawala. Basically, big companies are disappearing. But, hello, San Miguel, 100 plus years. Diba? Magaling si San Miguel. Diba? It's not just they're good, they're still on top of their game. They're listed great company to work for. Diba? Filipinos want to work for, diba? In according to Rappler Job Street, and 127 years by that time. So I did my analytical, I put on my analytical hat, did some thinking, and I came up with options. Sabi ko, number one option, probably, product innovation. Magaling mag-produce ng product si San Miguel. Pero naisip ko, kaya lang, diba, pag product, madaling makopya eh. So I don't think that's that's the only reason why they're good. Again, this plays a roles, of course. Diba, may role ito into building a great company, but it's not the large contributing factor in being a scalable and sustainable company. So I don't think ito yon. I came up with option B, process innovation. Napaka-efficient talaga niya. Ang galing nila when it comes to efficiency of operation. Kaya lang naisip ko rin, just because something is efficient doesn't mean it's effective. Kahit pa efficient yung company, kung di naman profitable, wala rin. Diba? So, I don't think it's process innovation. Baka naman magaling ang strategy nila. Diba? And that's what we've been talking about the past 3 weeks. We're talking about strategy here. Maybe they're good in designing strategies. But if you're following the series, alam natin na, strategy has a shelf life. Diba? Hindi, just because it worked in the 1900s, doesn't mean it'll work in the 1950s. And in the pace of change right now, diba? Medyo mahirap bangko ng strategy. Besides, like product, nakokopya to. So I came up with the fourth option, and that is management innovation. And put simply, management innovation is the organizational capability to manage employees in a way that fully engages their commitment. Yung company manages the people inside in such a manner na people inside are committed. I'm committed to the success, to make San Miguel successful, to make the Mercs successful, to make Sellers Hub successful. They manage the people in such a manner na ganun ang outcome, and they allow everyone to contribute all their brain power. So it's going to be management innovation, and I embrace this principle, to the core of my being. I may be wrong, but so far it's working. So I believe that it is the way we manage our people that will be a sustainable competitive advantage. It will not only help us build something great, but help us build an enduring great enterprise. Yes, please type enduring great enterprise kung nandiyan pa kayo. So far, so good. Bigat? Welcome. Diba? Sabi ko sa inyo, winarningan ko kayo eh. Ayan. Enduring great enterprise. Salamat. Ayan. Okay, so and this isn't something new. Okay, my mentor from a distance, Jack Welch. He's a CEO of GE, legendary CEO of GE. He's a mentor of mine from a distance. My life, isa sa bucket list ko, kamayang ko siya bago siya pumanaw. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And who you see right now here is 50% Jack Welch. Ayan. So 50% Jack Welch and 45% Steve Jobs. And other percent is other influences. But largely the way I operate is basically because of this guy. You read this book, you'll see me because I am a shameless copycat of his management principles. And he talked about management innovation, about building great people. In a quote, he said, "We build great people who then build great products and services." They build GE in his time. It's all about building great people, and we can paraphrase that, who then build great processes, who then build great strategies. But at the end of the day, it's all about building great people, and how we manage our people will either build them or I call it bust, build or bust, or destroy them. So ultimately, It's up to us as CEOs, as business leaders, to make sure that we're building great people. Yes? Okay. So let's talk about now. While I was preparing for this material, building companies that will last, I came across this the title, The Centennials. While S&P 500s are disappearing at a head-snapping pace, merong mga companies na they're celebrating 100 years. They're widely admired, diba? They're respected, and they're successful in their field. And it seems like they're going to be here forever. I came across this Harvard Business Review article, How Winning Organizations Last 100 Years, written in 2018. It messed with my head. Ang ganda. Read it. May access naman tayo sa Harvard, one article per month. So read it, or you can download it. I strongly recommend you read it. Okay, and I'll be sharing the learnings. I'm not gonna quote all, but I'm just gonna share 3 things about building institutions that last 100 years. So, ito yung mga centennials, si Royal Shakespeare Company, si Eton College, si NASA, the Blacks, sa football team, or rugby team, ayan, British Cycling. And ito yung mga key takeaway ko sa kanila. Okay, the 3 SPs. The first one, the centennials have a shared purpose. Surprise, surprise. So they have a burning purpose beyond making money. Beyond making money, hindi yung purpose. Okay? They have a purpose that impacts everyone they touch. They have a mission, and because of this mission, I'll talk more about that later, but because of that mission, they attract people. Because, come on, let's be honest, sino bang ma-attract sa isang kumpanya na ang habol lang mga talented, mga magagaling, 'di ba? Na, oy, join ka sa amin kasi payayamanin mo ko. 'Di ba? Parang why would talented people work with someone like us in exchange for money, 'di ba? I mean, they can earn it somewhere else. So it's not really just about money. It's all about the great ones, the talented ones. It's all about mission. In fact, they share a purpose. They're very strategic. They look at 30 years ahead, and they think of how they can shape that next 30 years into something that will help them achieve their purpose. Ito yung quote, no? Sabi dito, talent is drawn to them to help them achieve their purpose because they have a very attractive purpose. Jim Collins call it core ideology. Simon Sinek calls it just cause. Exponential organizations, they call it a massive transformative purpose. We call it the DNA. So because of that DNA, that purpose, they attract talented people, but they don't just wait for talent to turn up. The centennials, instead, they work with what? Pakitype daw. They work with, yan, pakitype para alam kong nandyan pa kayo. They work with children, sometimes as young as 4 years of age. They are shaping the next generation to help them learn and use the skills that they need in the future. As RSC, Royal Shakespeare Company, explained, some of the most important work we do is with schools. And it keeps us relevant. And surprise, surprise, shout out kay Direk Chris, who's now working and building our associate program. We're working with schools. So yan ang gusto natin mangyari. And again, we started that program before I read this. So it wasn't a copycat. And I don't care if it's a copycat. If it's working, it's working. Okay. So sometimes as young as 4 years of age, ito yung mga practices nila. Si All Blacks, yung invented rugby to be played in primary schools. Mga primary schools, they created a league, yung paliga. Kasi tama nga naman, yung mga future players nila, doon naman gagaling. So tinitrain na nila. Diba? Pine-prepare na nila yung future players 20 years, 30 years ahead of time. And RCA holds young art competition for 4 years old to 18 years old every year. NASA runs a 10-week program for school graduates. So shared purpose and their strategy to make sure that that purpose is achieved 20 years, 30 years down the lane, man, that's fantastic. Yan ang isang quality ng centennial. Ano pa yung pangalawa? Because of their purpose, they have now strategic partnerships. And here's the surprising truth na nakuha ko dito. Mess with my head. 70% of the centennial staff are actually networks. It's not full-time staff. They're network. Okay? Aside from NASA, in the exemption of NASA, 80% of the centennials have 300 or less employees. In a world where bigger people want to acquire resources and grow bigger, the centennials focus on getting better. In fact, ito yung quote, no? They focus on getting better, not bigger. Most organizations probably tell you how much they grew last year. But the centennials we studied, growth makes them nervous. If they grow beyond 300, yung sense of control, okay, medyo nahihirapan na sila. Okay, but here's the key, okay? Just because they're small in size in terms of employment doesn't mean they don't have a very big network. So that's the paradox. Now they have a small team, 300 compared to others, but they have a big network. In fact, ang ginagawa nila, yung alumni nila, pinagtatrabaho nila sa mga malalaking company. And because they are unified by a purpose, ini-invite nila yung pabalik. Please share what you're learning from where you are right now. So they get access to the brains and the learnings of these big companies and they insource it to the organization. Ayos? Sakit sa ulo? Ayan. Please type sakit sa ulo if you're still with me. Pakichat dyan sa mga nasa Facebook. Imagine, just because they have a small workforce doesn't mean they don't have a big network. Diba? So they rely on network unified by a shared purpose. Yeah. And the third one is their succession protocols. Okay. After neto, we'll get practical na. Okay. Succession protocols, meaning most companies na 5 years, tatanggalin na or papalitan na ng CEO, 6 years. But here, the average is 10 years. In 10 years' time, the CEO or the leader and the executive team, okay, they make sure that they retain that. And ang turnover, hindi, kunyari, magre-retire na ako bukas o magre-resign na ako o ikaw na papalit, hindi ganun. It takes 4 years, 2 years. So in 10 years, for example, ako, magre-retire na ako sa CIA in the next 10 years, year 6, turnover ko na sa iyo, ha? Kung sino man ang gusto sumalo. Okay, at marami kang pagpipilian. Andiyan si Chris, andiyan si Mel, andiyan si RD, andiyan si BK. So marami kang pagpipilian. Di ba? Anong pag-iiwanan natin? Bala na kayo dyan. Kaya nyo na, si Frank. Di ba? Ayan. So, hindi, just because they're going to retire in 10 years doesn't mean in 10 years, doon na sila iiwan. Okay? 4 years, 2 years, yan ang turnover. Okay? And then, aangat to the board, and then again, replenish. So that's how they maintain not only their success, but they sustain their success in centuries. And so just to put an image in your head, a shared purpose, because of that purpose, they attract strategic partnerships. And with that strategic partnerships, they get ideas on how to succession planning, how to succeed and have a succession protocol to continue the purpose. So it's a flywheel. Yan. Welcome to the final installment of strategy series natin. Yan. Alright, so let's get practical. Balik tayo sa personal case study ko. So far, so good. Please type so good if you're learning. Dun din sa mga nasa Facebook para alam ko kasi I only have 10,000 participants dahil nilock na. Dahil masyadong famous na tayo. Famous. So let's get practical. In my way of preparing my successor for the firm that I'm building is I write down books or ebooks, diba? So I created notes. So notes is something I wrote. It's 50 pages, and I give it away to my client partners. I give it to anyone. You want to learn the ropes of what I'm doing. You want to know who I am, what I do. Read notes. Yan basically ang sabi nga nila calling card ko. You want to know who I am, just read that. And then if you realize na it's for you, message me. We'll have that conversation. You realize, ayoko makatrabaho si Fa. Okay lang yon, diba? Read that. And when I gave it away to client partners, people said after reading that, medyo nabitin kami. Parang, meron bang mas mahaba? So I wrote down Notes for Leaders. Okay, this is my second book, parang I think 4 months later. And in a chapter called The Infinite Game, inspired by Simon Sinek, that's the last chapter. I talk about the next 3 things in creating successful organizations that can be successful without you, long beyond your tenure. And there are 3 P's. Diba? The first one is how you design a multi-generational longevity strategy is having a purpose. Pinanggitan natin to. But I want to touch on it. Purpose unleashes passion. That's as simple as it is. And without passion, you cannot build something great. So we have completed our Harvard Knocks, diba? Our CEO Insights Asia Review, founded and built by the Chief Visionary Officer of Gramworth. She's CEO. She's very busy, but she was able to pull it off. And then kay Keril, they literally pull out a night all-nighter. Diba, mga napuyat yan. Hanggang alas 12 magka-chat kami. Finishing it. Si Keril, love mo ka. You can't pay people to do that. It comes out of passion. And that passion, you cannot pay people to be passionate. There has to be a purpose, a fire, a purpose that's burning inside everyone for it to happen. So yun yung ano natin. We have Chris, who's nasa kung saan man ngayon, nagbabakasyon. Pero habang nagbabakasyon, nakikinig at nag-iisip paano ba kami makaka-raise ng funds for the scholars ng associate program natin. We have a lot of people. Si Frank, gumising ng maaga, tapos binomba pa. Di ba? Para i-run ito. No one is a paid staff at CEO Insights Asia, just to be clear. No one. Yeah. These are all contributed because of passion. Okay? So, I had this question. I asked them, sabi ko rito, if you have all the money that you want right now, not have, need, want, what will you spend the rest of your life doing? Let that sink in. Okay? It's not about money. Okay? Once you have the money that you need and want, what will you spend your rest of life doing? Sabi ni Eman, legacy. Okay, what's your legacy? That's something that I cannot answer that for you. Okay? That's something that you have to figure out. Let's say, for example, I'm 30. Nax, 30, di ba? Forever akong 30, di ba? And I die at 75. I have 45 years, for example. And I have all the money that I want right now. What will I do with the next 45 years? And that's your legacy. Okay? So think about that. Next, having a purpose, you have to have a permanent task. And this is a permanent task. I call this the infinite game mindset. And I haven't shared this publicly. This is the first time I'm sharing this publicly. If you read my book, you know what this is. But now I'm sharing it publicly. The infinite game mindset is the mindset. It's the long game. Okay? And when I say long game, I'm not talking about 20 years, 50 years. I'm talking about 1,000 years. Okay? So here's the infinite game mindset. Okay? I believe to the core of my being, there are two leadership imperatives. Number one, live in full conviction that me, as a leader, I must ensure that the institution, the CEO Insights Asia, the businesses that I built, endures into the 7th generation. That's how I see it. CEO Insights Asia, it's my job to make sure that CEO Insights Asia endures up to the 7th generation. And 7 generations is 525 years. Okay. 7 generations is like, for one generation, let's say a lifespan is 75 years old. And then that's one generation. You multiply that by 7, that's 525. So everything that I do, that's how I think. What can I do right now to make sure that CEO Insights Asia endures to the 7th generation? But that's just the first task. The second task is that I ensure that the leader of the 7th generation also lives in full conviction that as leader, they must ensure that the institution endures into their 7th generation. Make sense? Let that sink in. Okay? So yun yung mentality natin. My job, your job, the Mercs, Sellers Hub, Daybear, what else? Star Asia, your job is to make sure that your companies, Ripple Kids, they go and endure into the 7th generation sa apo ng apo natin. And not only that, the idea of the infinite game mindset, that they embody the conviction that I have to, the 7th generation before me entrusted me with this, I must ensure that this goes on to the 7th generation. So that's 1,050 years. We're talking about millennial play here. Yeah. Not just when I say long game, that's what I mean when I say long game. Yeah. So kung sumakit ang ulo nyo, pakitype biogesic. Yan, welcome. That's how we think here at CEO Insights Asia. This is and when I was preparing this, I still have time. When I was preparing this, it's nothing new. I thought that I was the originator of this. Apparently not. So there's a Native American tribe at binasa ko to. Haudenosaunee. Yan, Haudenosaunee tribe. And this is their principle. It's called the 7-generation principles, that the decisions we make today should result in a sustainable world 7 generations into the future. It's nothing new. Feeling ko ako naka-invento nun. Feeling ko lang yun. But it's already happened. So, here's the third one is the protocol. So, we're running out of time. We'll make it fast. Protocols. So, protocols is basically regularly communicate the 7-generation principle to you and your team. The idea is tayo, executive team of Sellers Hub, executive team of the Mercs, executive team of Ripple Kids. Our job is to make sure that our company endures into the 7th generation. Tayo, hindi lang ako, tayo. Okay, regularly communicate that. The second is review the purpose to make sure that there's a personal connection between the individuals and the purpose. And last but not the least is ready a talent development pipeline. Let's prepare. When is the best time to prepare for succession? Yesterday. Okay. So in closing, ito pala yung si Jim Collins, sabi niya, the task before you is not to be a single charismatic individual with vision. The task is to build an organization with vision, because individuals die. Great companies live for centuries. If we want our impact to last, we want to build an institution that provides that impact long after we're gone. Yeah. In closing, yeah. So we talk about first episode, we talk about missional, we build institutions for legacy. We're all about legacy play. Okay. Then we talk about operating in excellence. Yeah. The third one is progressing in experience. We just don't learn from experience. We progress in experience. Okay. We get better. And now we're talking about thinking in generations. Okay. As I close, last Father's Day, we watched si Jokoy. Napanood mo ba ito? Jokoy. Kilala niyo siya. So he's a Filipino-American comedian. And we had Netflix sa pinag-celebrate namin ng Father's Day. And I watched him. And an episode or a series from Netflix, yung title is In His Elements. And he was funny. I haven't watched that. And he's funny, that's why I watched it. But I realized na In His Elements, hindi pala siya just stand-up comedy show ni Jokoy. He brought other Filipino-American, upcoming Filipino-American comedians. He brought in world-class break dancers. Pinagturo niya sa Tenement. He brought in musician, Grammy Award-winning music producers, and he partnered with them. Mga Filipino to. So basically, si Jokoy, he's using his platform to immerse the whole world, because the whole world is watching him. Everyone knows him. He's using his platform to elevate Filipino culture. Pina-experience niya through his show yung Filipino culture to those who are watching. And I remember isang episode doon na nando siya kay Jay Leno. He was wearing the Filipino flag, and sabi niya, the reason why I wore that proudly is that I want the children, the kids who's into comedy, they get inspired, because if I can do it, they can one day be meeting with Jay Leno. They can one day be like me. He's serving as an inspiration to others, and he's using his platform to elevate others. So ganun tayo . For others, other CEOs, leadership is a position, but here at CEOInsight Asia, leadership is a platform, and we use that to elevate others, to continue to sustain the impact long after we're gone. That is the best strategy in building and sustaining an enterprise and its impact. So here's my closing quote. Yeah. You cannot build a 100-year-old company without a robust people strategy. So with that, thank you so much. Now I'm opening the floor for insights. I'll be asking siguro si Eman. Eman, can you share one insight as we end this series? Are you there, Eman?
Hello.
Yan, sir. Soon to be grown. Yan! Sige, sir. What's your key takeaway?
Ayun, pag nagbi-build kasi tayo ng companies, hindi lang siya fly by night para lang magkapera tayo. Dapat talaga may deep purpose . So paano natin gagawin yun? Kailangan natin ng people of executions or yung mga leaders natin. Kasi tayo kasi as owners, tao lang tayo . So tumatanda tayo, mamamatay tayo. Pero yung mga papalit sa atin sa mga in the past mga seven generations, kailangan naka-inject pa rin sa kanila yung DNA nung natin, ng company. Kasi si company, hindi naman tao yan entity yan hindi namamatay. So, tumatagal. Depende lang sa nagmamanage na tao na pumapalit sa atin every generation. So, yan. Sir.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Eman. And with that, we formally end the strategy series. Next week, final announcement. Next week, we will start a new series. Business model ang ating theme. And then Friday, July 1, kita-kits tayo sa Tagaytay, CEO meetup, and bring food. Or don't, diba? Basta galaki pagkain. Manginginain kami sa inyo. So with that, the episode will be published later. We'll show the mechanics. The review will be published later. We'll share the mechanics kung paano maka-download nun sa ating page. With that, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day. Happy weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.